This next story is, I'll be honest with you, after ERCOT comes out and says we got to watch our thermostats from 2 until 8 this afternoon, asking us not to use heavy appliances, asking us to also raise your thermostat to 78 degrees. This is after we were told that things in the state of Texas were fine as far as the power grid is concerned. Well, that story on top of this one will upset you, because the latest is we could continue to see a rise in electricity bills. St. Clair Newbern joins us right now, energy broker and consultant who buys and manages electricity and natural gas. And St. Clair, when I hear a 70% increase in my electric bill, I'll be honest with you, that does not make me feel good.
Well, unfortunately, we've had a lot of people come to Texas. Supply is tight, and the real reason that electricity prices are so high is because of natural gas prices. A year ago, they were under $3. They shot up to over $9 earlier this year, and are now sitting in the $6 range. And so you just look at the fuel that we're using to create electricity has doubled since last year, and that's going to be reflected in electricity prices.
Is that strictly because of the number of people who have moved into the state? Is it really just based on population and demand?
Well, so we're going to see the most energy ever consumed in the ERCOT grid today, over 80,000 megawatts. And so, yeah, demand for energy has increased, and that's a result of people moving to Texas, businesses moving to Texas. We're also experiencing a La Nina conditions right now, so hotter and drier throughout the southern half of the country. So there's a lot of factors that are causing us to use more energy, and that creates tighter supply. The war in Russia is creating more demand for natural gas. So there's a whole lot of things happening at once that are contributing to the supply and demand situation.
Now, the governor told us a while back that the grid, though, was okay, that it can handle all of this. Yet we're still getting these warnings from ERCOT to conserve. Which is it? Can the grid handle this kind of demand that we're going to see today?
Yeah, I think it can. I mean, we're definitely not going to have blackouts like we did with Uri, where electricity's out for days at a time. The reality is we've never seen this much demand on the grid. This will be the peak demand for all-time history today, and then probably again tomorrow. And so what we might see is some rolling blackouts if it gets bad. The problem is that wind doesn't show up as much as it does on cooler days. The solar shows up, the natural gas shows up, but the wind doesn't show up as much. And so it's a tricky balancing act, because we've got intermittent resources we're having to balance against the thermal generation. And so it's uncharted territory. We've never had this much demand on the system.
St. Clair Newbern's with us right now. We were talking about this last week in rising electricity bills, and I think Hal was the only one on our staff that had not seen an increase year to year in his electricity. I've seen about a 17, 18, 20% increase, it feels like, over last year. Is that typical? Is that what we're seeing, and will that continue to go up?
Yeah, so there's two things going on right now. The price for electricity is up, and then we're having a hotter summer than last summer, so people are using more. So we're seeing more consumption and higher prices.
But is that 20% number, is that fairly accurate? I mean, is that what other folks are seeing?
That's low, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, so I was looking at like residential rates are in the 14 to 15 cent range right now if you had to renew today. So if people coming off 8 cents, 9 cents, 10 cents, that's a pretty big jump. So the most important thing I can recommend is for businesses and residential consumers is to shop ahead of time. Don't wait till your contract expires. And if you're a business and you can go longer term, you may be able to lock in a price in the future that takes you out into 24, 25, 26 and get a much better price than if you just look at a short-term contract today.
St. Clair, we were told that deregulation, though, and competition would lower the price of electricity here in Texas, and for years it did. Is that the case today, though? I mean, when you compare us to other states around the country, where do we stack up in energy cost?
So deregulation has definitely helped. If you look at markets throughout the country that are not deregulated, they've been paying high prices forever. And I was just talking with a station in Michigan, and they're paying 18 cents up there, and they were paying 18 cents last year. So Texas is much more responsive. When natural gas prices go down, the electricity prices go down. When they go up, the electricity prices go up. The thing about Texas is that you can actually lock in when prices are down. So we've got a lot of customers that are paying 3 cents and will be for the next 5 years. So in my view, having that optionality and the ability to lock in when prices are low is a huge benefit and has benefited Texas for 20 years.
Are there as many companies and options out there as there used to be as far as power companies that we could choose to go with? It feels like that number's kind of reduced a little bit.
It's gone down a little bit, but there's like tons of retailers in Texas. When Uri happened, a bunch of retailers got smoked by the market,
right,
and went bankrupt and no longer here. But there's still plenty of competition. I mean, on any given day, when we're pricing a deal, we'll price it with half a dozen or more retail electric providers. So there's more than enough competitors, and I can assure you that the market is very competitive.
St. Clair Newbern, thank you for the insight, man, on what we're facing here in the state of Texas. Remember, ERCOT suggesting you reduce your power usage later this afternoon. We'll find out if the grid can handle it or not.